Welcome to the Commercial Kitchen Chronicles, the podcast dedicated to the commercial food equipment repair industry. My name is Pat Finley. I'm a lead master certified technician at General Parts Group and a certified special trainer. My goal is to shine a light on what I believe to be one of the most interesting and rewarding industries a field service technician can work in. I love the work I do, and I'm glad you're here listening to this podcast. In this episode, we welcome Rich Ortega back, as well as Jason Latimer. What's up, everybody? Glad to have you all here tonight. Got a very special guest on. I got Rich Ortega filling in with me. He wanted to jump on. I wanted to have him back on. He's got similar mindset to our guest here. So Rich is on. Dusty's stuck on a walk-in cooler, thawing it out. And we all know that's going to lead into more than just thawing it out. So good luck out there, Dusty. So everybody, welcome Jason Latimer on the show. What's up, man?
Hey, what's going on?
Super excited for this, dude. I've been saying since I started this that I wanted to get you on, and it's finally come to fruition. So I'm glad to have you on here, man. It was cool to meet you in Florida, and I've been following your progression for the last couple of years. You're moving up in the company and everything, and all your content and everything, and I really look up to you, man. And you're a good dude, so I'm glad to have you on.
Thank you.
Sweet. So, anybody have any interesting service calls today or anything?
Old 9501 Garland. Needed some switches in the back. Gapping it was no fun. Needed help on that. So I haven't touched one in so long that I needed to phone a friend, help me out with that, but he took care of it.
The new ones will definitely get you spoiled fast, man. Those Pearl Grills, McDonald's or not McDonald's, you just hit that little button, you can fine tune the back. You get spoiled on the new grills. You go back to some you got to adjust 4 points, and you're like, oh crap. Then you got the one where you got to level the platen to the grill with the digital level and stuff. I'm like, no, don't give me anything new. Don't give me anything old. Give me all the new stuff, and I'll be fine.
You see, all I got up here are those old ones.
Yeah, I've got one I took out a couple weeks ago. It's still sitting in my shop. I literally had to cut the handle off the front to get it out the door. They said when they brought it in the store, they had to lay it on its back, and I was not doing that. So I took a Sawzall, cut the handle, and pulled the computer off, and it slid it out the door. But it's still sitting in the back of the shop. It's going to get hot. If they don't get rid of it soon, all that grease is going to melt and start dripping all over the floor in the warehouse. So that's cool. So you've come a long way here recently. You got a recent promotion at work, and before we get into that, let's just break in like how you got involved in the commercial food service equipment repair industry. How'd you hear about it, or what'd you go to school for, or what'd you do?
Well, so go back a little bit further. Prior to me getting into this field, my whole life revolved around hospitality, customer service, and retail. I worked in hotels, car washes, restaurants, and that's just been my life. It's what I was used to. It's very content with that. And then I'd say around 2008, 2009, recession was hitting pretty hard down here. We were living in the Fort Myers area. And I mean, if hours weren't cut, businesses were closed. It was just really hard for the industry that I love, which was, all revolves around hospitality. So my wife was joining the service, and she's like, hey, we're going in, and we're gonna join. We're gonna be stationed somewhere. Let's, I'm gonna do 4 years active. Let's go wherever they send us, and you reinvent yourself. So we ended up in Washington State in the Tacoma area, and she had about a 4-year contract. So I went there. Went to school. I got a degree in facility maintenance engineering, which is for the most part Class A building engineer, boiler operator, just working in buildings. I picked that because my father's a cabinet maker, carpenter, and I liked fixing things, building and whatnot. So this kind of lined up with something I wanted to do. And then after 2 years, I had a little bit of time left, so I decided to go for an HVAC degree because the colleges were all state colleges, so they accepted all the prerequisites. So I didn't have to redo my math and science and public speaking and English. So I did that. And then toward the end of her 4-year active duty contract, we decided we wanted to come back to Florida. So instead of going back to the Fort Myers area, we ended up looking into Tampa. And that year I had I think I had a semester left, which was three months. She finished up her active duty. We head back to Florida. While we're here for Christmas, I needed to still head back to Washington State to take my senior class. And I just started looking for jobs that, you know, I could be in maintenance. I'm just thinking, hey, I'm going to end up in a high rise as a Class A building engineer. And then I saw an ad for Steak and Shake. So while I was down here at Christmas, I came from Fort Myers. I drove up here and I did a little job shadow. I really liked the guys that that were there and whatnot. And so they were like, hey, you know, we did a little job shadow. We you don't know anything, because I'm like, man, I got 2 associate's degrees, and you know, I'm the shit. You know, I had all my little recommendations and my career portfolio for the 4 years I was in school, and it was so funny. The guy he looked through it real quick, and he was like, "Oh, that's awesome. You don't know anything." I'm like, "Yes, sir." So he's like, "But you did take the initiative. You did invest in yourself. You know, you do care about your craft, and you're willing to put money out there and your time. And one thing is you're not going to waste that money and time. You did go through that. So we definitely want you. You don't have a bunch of bad habits, so we can show you the way we want to show you." And then I went back to Washington State. I only had to do half of that last quarter. So they said, if you have a industry related job, you only have to do half of your senior class. The other half, you can go do your job, and then your employer can sign off on it if you're hired and you're good, and we'll give you my second associate's degree. So ended up moving to Florida. My wife went into the reserves, and then she started going to school. We kind of took turns back and forth education wise. She had a degree, then I went and got 2, and then she came back here. She got another one, and we just kind of took turns over the years. 19 years, married this July coming up here, and ended up, in Steak and Shake, and just kind of cutting my teeth and making mistakes and learning a lot, just being humble, fessing up. Hey, I made some mistakes, shocking myself an awful lot, and got 3 years of that, and that's how I got into it, man. And the big thing was, when I was in college, I was just like, man, I've been in hospitality and restaurants, all my life, 16 years, since I was about 16 years old, almost 18 years at that time, because I was 30 years old when I moved up there. And I was like, I'm probably never going to be in a restaurant again. I'm going to be in a high rise somewhere, next thing I know, I'm in a restaurant and working alongside people I really recognize, people like myself who just, don't do it really for the money. You got long hours, you got weird shifts, but you just love the hospitality. And my instructor told me, he's like, Jason, there's a lot of techs that come through here that we train in facilities, and a lot of them are, get in, keep your head down, don't really want to talk to anybody. People are like, well, somebody in here, I swear I saw somebody, but you actually want to talk to people. You actually want to explain to people, and you want to know who they are, and you want to make a relationship, and it's hospitality stuff, Yep. So it's really cool, because I never had to lose who I was hospitality wise and customer service wise. And it was just really cool, because I can walk into a restaurant or work alongside people and say, hey man, or lady, I know what it feels like to work doubly hard on a piece of equipment that only works halfway. I know what it feels like to be in this kitchen when the AC doesn't work, and I'm slaving away and I'm busting my butt, but I understand, so I can empathize. I'm not better than you. You're in the right place, and if you want to make a change, we could talk about that if you want to do something different. Mm-hmm. But every time I walk into a restaurant, I remember how fun it was, when I was younger. It's just like, the camaraderie and the fun and the rhythm and the customers and the pace, French fries falling down my shirt, getting yelled at sometimes, some irate customers, you gotta soothe if you can. And, I'm just really blessed to one, elevate myself, my family financially, and the type of work I'm doing, the pride I could take in it, and go from where I was there and just step it up, but still be there, you know, and still be around the type of people that I really enjoy being around and I care about. So it really means a lot to me, and landing and being in the restaurants, you know, that first 3 years, I was like, man, I'm not an introvert. I mean, I think I'm an introvert. I'm a social butterfly. What would I be doing in a boiler room as a stationary engineer in a high rise somewhere with all this personality? I don't know. I would have no one to talk to. But now I can do my thing. I can break it down, and you know, I can jump in and fill up the fry hopper real quick. And they're like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah, I got you." You know, I'll run to the back of the freezer, grab a bag, you know, box of fries. I'm like, "Yo, I brought this for you. I see you're up." You know, just stuff like that, man.
Yeah,
bro, I love everything you just said, customer service related.
Yeah,
That's one thing I learned early in my career. And I heard it hearing stories. There was a company way back in the day in the Orlando area. They were national. They had great techs, but no customer service. And people would be like, man, they're a great company, but their techs are the biggest jerks or the biggest pricks. They're arrogant. They're this, they're that. And I was still young in my career. So I'm like, let me start developing the customer interaction. And for me, naturally, I'm an introvert, but I really learned to develop the customer interaction, the customer service, like the explaining stuff to customers and not, explaining it in a technical way. You know what I mean? I'm like, like if I explain to somebody why I need to change their expansion valve, I'm not getting all technical. I'm like, this part controls how much, and I'll say Freon. I know some people act like that's a sin in this industry. This controls how much Freon goes into the part where the fans are inside your cooler. Oh, okay, yeah. So it's not, letting enough Freon go through, so it's not getting cold. Oh, great. And then, they feel like you respect them. They feel like they're actually a part of the process that's going on. And even when I wasn't that great of a tech, people would request me because, they trusted me. They felt confident in the stuff I was telling them. And then, like, I try to drill into people's heads when customers start to trust you in, first of all, people do business with whatever they like. That's human nature. But when you start building that relationship with people and they start to trust you in the small stuff, then when you're like, yeah, this is going to be like a $6,000 repair, most of the time they're like, all right, cool. When can you get it done? Not, I need to shop around. Yeah. We need to get more bids. Not, let me get a second opinion. Okay, Rich, I mean, we trusted you for the past 2 years on every other thing. If you say it's this, it must be that. So, I mean, I love everything you said about that. And one of the things I post a lot is, I say it's better to be a good tech with great customer service than a great tech with lousy customer service.
Yeah. 100. Yeah. Joel brought up a good point. He said, customers enjoy when we come in and we actually have a personality, not just, like you said, I've got a guy been doing this 38 years. He was on the show and he walks in, he just looks mad. He just has a demeanor to his face. He's really not mad. He just looks that way. And he just explains it real short and real abrupt. And man, people think he's mad, doesn't want to be there. I'm like, man, he's actually like probably one of the best techs you'll have in here, but he just doesn't do a good enough job explaining to the customer. You got to explain to the customer in a way they can understand, or if they're not the one that called it in, they got to be able to explain to that person. So you use big terms, you throw stuff over their head, they're not going to get it. Slow down and make sure they understand it. And it goes so much further, man, so much further.
Absolutely. You'd be surprised how much grace you're given when you communicate with people. I've had customers that, because I love explaining things to them, that they're just like, if I make a mistake, they're like, yeah, that's okay. And then I've had other customers where they're like, a technician could be amazing, but they don't speak well. They don't communicate well. They don't trust them. Unfortunately, they don't trust their skill because they don't have a connection with them. And I can turn around and make a huge mistake and be like, hey, I'm sorry this happened. They're like, no, it's fine. We'll work it out and just keep on doing what you're doing. I give them a quote. They're like, we'll just go ahead and approve that now. It's 100% trust, like you said, Rich. It's all trust.
Yeah, and I've seen that same exact thing many times where I've gone to customers, and like I got one customer in particular, I constantly post about doing work in their place because it's one of my favorite places to do work.
Chicken place. The chicken place?
No. I mean, I don't know. I could probably say it on here. It's not a big deal, but it's a cheesecake factory here in Greenville.
Cheesecake, yep.
And we had an issue where, without going into, one of our techs did something that really kind of set them off, and then I took over the account. And then I've gone and, like you said, made an honest mistake that's going to cost them money. And I've been like, hey, so my bad, but this happened. I'm working as fast as I can to get it resolved and whatever. Okay, cool. No worries. come back when you have the part, whatever, like if nothing ever happened. But I put a lot of work into the customer service, into constantly texting the kitchen manager. Hey, this is what I did. This is what you need. We submitted a quote. I got the work done. She had an emergency the other day and she had to, submit a ticket through Service Channel, but she called me before she did to find out if there was something she could do. And then when she was like, okay, I put the ticket in, I basically ran around, running errands that I had to get done anyway. So I'd be in the area. So as soon as that ticket came through, I could be in their place, getting them up and running. And that was last Friday. So, they needed to be up before the weekend. But with stuff like that, like you said, then when you screw up, even if it's huge, they're like, we all screw up. No big deal.
Yeah.
I'm a big proponent in owning it. Even if you screw up, tell them you screwed up, admit it. They're going to be more forgiving if you just come out and say you did it. It was an accident. I was trying to take this off. This broke in the process. Own it and make it right, dude. And it's going to go a long way. So,
100%.
Oh yeah, it's funny because you like Jocko, like a lot of us do, extreme ownership, and I listen to that while I'm driving around. I've listened to it at least 3 times. I love his books.
I think I'm on like the 4th time.
Yeah, and it's so easy for the relationship that you have, Pat, and yourself, and Rich and myself, for them to trust you. But that one time you're dishonest, you could destroy that, and you can't come back from 100%. That. It's so not worth it to not just own it. And they look at you like, thank you. It's just like, just own it. And if I tell any young techs, because I deal with a lot of young techs, and I just see techs in the field, and something little, they're just like, well, that wasn't me. And it's just like, bro, your fingerprints are all over this. Or I already know, when I say something to them. And I mean, I have some techs that'll just be like, yeah, that was me. And I could just tell that they really don't know what the heck I'm talking about. They're just like, that was me. I'm like, okay, that's cool too. But I mean, the just being straight up is respected, and you just don't want to diminish your credibility with anybody. It's just not worth it. Your reputation isn't worth 6 figures. It's not worth nothing at all.
I'm 100% with that. To me, reputation is more valuable than any money. I mean, money comes and goes, but your reputation, that's how people know you. And you could do somebody wrong today, not see them for 10 years, and you're still the dude that did them wrong 10 years ago. It don't matter if you changed your life, you done 1 million other people right in that time frame, you still did that person wrong, and that's who you are in their eyes. And one thing for me is, I'm like, you could say a lot about me, but you ain't never going to be able to say I did you wrong.
Yeah.
So Jason Hartman brought up a good point. He says, do techs get training on customer service, or is it all just learned as you go? Unfortunately, it's pretty much all just learned as you go. Now, I'm trying to do some technical stuff from my side, and I'd love to see like a class on how to interact with the customers and other techs and other people in the field. I don't know about where you work at or where you work at, Rich. I mean, we're kind of in the same boat, Rich, but I mean, there really needs to be a soft skills class. We have a soft skills class for the office people, how to like diffuse, irritated customers and stuff like that. But I think the technicians need to have a soft skills class to learn how to talk to these customers, diffuse rough situations, or ease an upset customer when you tell them, hey, this thing's got to be replaced, or, it's going to be $7,000 to $10,000, or, hey, your walk-in's going to be down, you're going to rent a truck, or you're going to lose all your food. You got to learn how to talk to people. And I think that we as an industry don't do a good enough job teaching that soft skills to technicians.
100%. Yeah, my bad. I don't want to jump in, Jason. I feel like I'm stealing your show, but it just kind of leads into something I've been thinking in my mind anyway. So one of the things I'm probably going to start doing, especially on TikTok, is posting what I'm calling basic videos. So like basic troubleshooting, basic service procedures, basic installs, kind of geared to people who are green, to help them get with stuff. But one of the things that I want to do is basic customer service and everything like you just said, Pat. So do a video on how to break this down to a customer, how to explain, that to them and things like that, just to help with that communication. I mean, not that long ago, I had to tell a customer that, I blew the leak in his evaporator wide open because we kept having to charge his walk-in every few months. And I said, well, I'll find your leak. When I'm done with it, I'm like, there's good news and bad news. He's like, what's the good news? I'm like, I found the leak. He's like, what's the bad news? I'm like, I made it worse and you need a refrigerator truck. But we had his evaporator replaced in like 3 days. And he was ecstatic the whole time. But, at one, I built that trust with him. And 2, I was like, hey, bro, I found it. I made it worse. This is what we're going to do to fix it. And now, I don't go to their place often. But when I do and I walk in the door, they're happy to see me every time.
No, that's awesome. For Jason's question, Hartman, and we actually do do emotional intelligence and soft skill training, customer service training. That's one of the things I'm kind of charged with, because a lot of the I say guys, and I have females and males on my team for the PM team, but we get a lot of younger. Can't even say that. Excuse me. I get a lot of texts right out of college, out of tech school, regardless of the age. But one of the things I like to teach is from the get. Walk in, get the customer's name, who you in their notes, who upon arrival I spoke to, tell the whole story. Who you checked out with, talking to them and whatnot, how to diffuse situations and things like that. But customer service is I'm a big component for that, and I'll be singing that to the rooftop here. But customer service is something that I talk to my techs a lot about, especially since a lot of them are new to the industry. And it's character, team culture, and customer service. Those three things is the foundation of how I like to lead and how I like to share with other people in the industry, whether it's customers, technicians, counterparts, leadership. But yeah, we do have training at our location. I partner with, we have not to do a shameless plug here, but Casper's University, which is an in-house university, and we have
plug away, brother. Plug away.
Thank you. We have a Sylvester Master certified technician who's one of the instructors, and we have an Air Force female who retired, and she works with HR and people. That's her thing, is people, customer service, and understanding people and relationships and things of that nature. And I'm working with her because she has a wealth of knowledge and experience and credentials, and she's just an all-around great person. And I'm learning a lot from her, and she's helping me and the company develop, go through some trials and make some tweaks. And it's a lot of it's around customer service. And we always say that, we can't fix an oven faster than the next company. We can't fix your AC faster. We can't do anything different, but the customer service, the relationship, we can do that. We like to pride ourselves, and that's our goal, because technical ability is you're going to come in with a certain skill level, and you're going to grow over time, and that's natural. But the one thing that you have to always train on, separate from technical, is the people factor and stuff like that. So we're pretty proud of that, and so it's again, how you make people feel is what they're going to remember. Like you said, 10 years from now, they will remember, how you made them feel if you didn't do them right, So yeah, customer service, I get really excited about it.
And I love the fact that you keep saying people, because what we do a lot of times, right, is the customer, and we kind of compartmentalize people. And well, this is how customers are. This is how suppliers are. And it's like, no, dude, that's a person. Now that person may be a prick. That's still a person, though. And when you take away that customer title, which is something I try to do, I try to, really not refer to people as customers as much as I can, because it's like, no, I'm in this person's restaurant. I'm in that person's restaurant. Remove that barrier that makes it a transaction, and, approach everything as interacting with people. That's why when, your supplier screws up, matter of fact, one time I had a supplier in Orlando screw up big time. And I'm like, well, what can y'all do to make it right? And they tell me one day, they're like, Rich, you're one of the most patient people that comes in here. I'm like, I'm really not. I said, but yelling, screaming, and cursing, all y'all going to do is call me a jerk when I hang up the phone, and that's it. I said, but if we can, work together and get things resolved, I figure y'all are going to help me a lot faster. And that's the thing. I screw up. Why should I not give this guy grace and leniency when he screws up? On the customer aspect of it, I don't know everything. And the day I need somebody to do something for me, I don't want this guy taking advantage of me. Well, why am I going to take advantage of this customer who is right now in that position that I know at some point I'm going to find myself in, Yeah. So I talk a lot about, what we do is we help people. That's the root of our job, is helping people. It's not helping customers. It's not helping restaurants. It's helping people in, whatever aspect they call us to help them in at that moment. So dude, everything you said, I'm like, hell yeah, this is cool.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to have Jason on here, man. He's a true deal, man. Just like you're the real deal too. I mean, you guys go above and beyond for your customer. You're not gonna do anything that you wouldn't want someone doing to you. So you're gonna take care of your customer regardless. we've all been there. 5 o'clock on a Friday afternoon. You diagnose the unit needs a gas valve. You're like, well, I got one on my truck, but I could easily just order it and come back. I'm putting it on. I'm not coming back. They called me out here. I have the part. Let's put it on there. It's the right thing to do to the customer. It's the right thing to do for my company. Yeah, I could be at home drinking beer with my buddies, playing video games, whatever, but I got a job to do. Let's do it right. Let's take care of the customer. That's why we're all here. So,
agreed, man.
So, Joel was asking who you work for. It's Casper Service Company, or is it?
Yeah, Casper Service Company out of Tampa, Florida. We go over to Orlando, Jacksonville. We have a team in Jacksonville. We'll go down to Fort Myers. We pretty much cover a good portion of the state, but we're out of Tampa.
Sweet. So, how long have you been there? So you worked for Steak and Shake. How long before you what made you transition from Steak and Shake to wherever you went after that?
Sure. So the reason I left Steak and Shake, and I think about it all the time, is I felt because it was a franchise, and at Steak and Shake, and I love the people there, man. It's just they had the same over time. They had the same Hobart flat top, the same Frymaster fryer, the same Hobart dishwasher. They just had the same equipment, and I was responsible for 12 of my own stores. Yeah, so I was that's where they started out, the headquarters there. So I was just tired of kind of working on the same pieces of equipment, and I felt like I wasn't really utilizing all the what I've learned in school and the time that I put in and everything. And it's just like we have a steam kettle. So that's all the steam I got. There was no gas. It was all electric for the locations I was at. And it just came down to I wanted to grow, and anytime you say you want to leave, of course, they're like, oh, well, we'll pay you whatever. And I said it had nothing, it's never had nothing to do with money for me, because I like to think my wife and I are pretty financially responsible, but we're following the passion, So I'm just like, hey, I want to learn more about gas. I want to work on different pieces of equipment. And I just really felt like I spent 4 long years in college, 2 degrees, and I'm just not really applying all the principles that I've learned in school. And, the 3 years I've been here was amazing. I cut my teeth, I've grown, but I'm just like, it's time for me to go find something else. And it was kind of scary when I was leaving, because I was happy where I was, but sad. But then somebody came and said, hey, would you want to work for a service company? And, they started picking my brain. I'm like, man, I'd love to get into this. They're like, we'll give you all you want, anything and everything, you'll learn it. Well, and I was just like, okay, so I ended up leaving, and I was warned by somebody was coming in to take my spot that I was training, that, hey, when you go to a service company, there is a good chance that, because I left in August, and this is Florida, and this August is still hot out. They said for a lot of service companies who work in HVAC cold side, and not a lot of hot side, when it gets cold out, you're the low man on the totem pole. You're new there. It's going to be hard to get hours and things of that nature, and you could be struggling. In a in-house maintenance technician role, there's work year round. You set your pace. You're responsible for your stores and whatnot. And even when it's cold out, you could be doing PMs, things of that nature. You can find stuff. And cooking equipment breaks year round, which is great. So I left there, and I ended up being somewhere for about four months. And I learned a whole bunch in that time. But by December, I was making like 26 hours because I was the newest guy, and whatnot. And I get that there's a lot more senior people there with the company. So when I left Steak and Shake, the day I left and I decided to take that job was the day I signed for my home that I'm in, our first home. So I got the keys to my house. The same day I got my keys, I called, put my 2 weeks in, and the next thing I know, a few months later, I'm just like, my wife's looking at me like, yeah, we got a mortgage. I'm like, okay. So, the guy who came over to me actually told me about Casper's, and he's like, hey man, if that doesn't work out, I'm just warning you, because you're going to a service company and you don't know how that works, especially when it gets cold. There is a company that's family friendly that actually was born of hospitality, who was born out of restaurants, who came from restaurants and was born from that. and they would be a great place for you to go. So come 4 months later, and I'm getting like 26 hours a week, and I'm just like, holy moly. So I go contact them, and they're like, yeah, we'll talk to you. And I ended up going over there, and I was, been there 6 years, and it's been a ride, man. Went from being a service tech and really cutting my teeth into all these different aspects, doing all kinds of steam work, doing gas work, and stuff like that. And I've gotten really good at it. And I like to think sometimes my customer service is just way better than my technical ability, that everyone just thinks I'm amazing and they just like me sometimes. But I did really well, and I've had a lot of great people that supported me, here at home, church, friends, my the clientele, very supportive, and it feels great, to be in this little niche of what we do here, where, like you said the other day, Pat, we're not plumbers, we're not electricians, we're not, full-blown HVAC guys. We're kind of, we're a bunch of mutts, but we're damn good mutts at that. And we like what we do. And I think a lot of people can get into a particular field and be, and love that money, because people are driven by different things, and I respect that. But I think for you to be in this and to handle all these different aspects, it really does take some passion and some drive to want to deal with all these different things that all, you can work on something and not work on it for 6 months, and then just like, damn, it's like, let me pick back up where I left off, because you're always doing so many things. And as long as you have great character and great work ethic, and you want to see your things through, you're good. You're going to be good in anything you do. But man, this industry right here, where you get to mix in the fun of hospitality and people, I don't think you can beat it, man. But that's been with Casper's for 6 years, and it's been a ride. In the field 8 years, and I've just now been promoted into I'd say entry-level management. So being a field manager, training manager.
Yeah, the hospitality part of it is I love interacting with people. Like I always tell everybody, when I'm not wearing my uniform, I'm an introvert. I'm terrible. But I put that uniform on, it brings out a different persona. I got a little bit of an ego, nothing crazy, a little bit of a swagger. I'll joke with people. I'll play around people. And it's like I take the uniform off and I'm just a different person. Like today, we were working at Taco Bell, and it's French fry season at Taco Bell, and it's nuts in there. And a French fry someone swung something, and a French fry fell out and it hit me. I was like, who threw this at me? And my son was with me, and he was like, they're throwing French fries at you? And I was like, and the guy just looked underneath the thing and smiled at me. I just laughed. I was like, nah, he's just packing a bag and just flew out and just happened to hit me. It was pretty funny. But yeah, the hospitality part of it's huge, man. I never thought of it that way, but it really is. They're in the hospitality business. You by just association, you're part of that business too, so you got to take care of them.
Absolutely, we're all family, man.
So Blogger wants to know. He wants to know if we work on ice cream machines, and can someone please tell me why McDonald's ice cream machine is always out of order? It's never out of order. It's just dirty, and they don't want to clean it.
Yeah. So I don't know how many secrets I can give, because there's like a federal. I'm just kidding. Who wants to take this question?
Most of the time it's just once I don't do them, but most of the guys I know that work on them just say they just lack of cleaning. It's easier for them just to not clean it and shut it down, say it's broke, than to deal with it. And a lot of times though, the cleaning happens at wrong times and they can't clean it, so they just shut it off.
Yeah. So you want my take on it?
Go ahead.
All right,
I've never worked on one, to be honest, man.
Oh, I've worked on so many, it's crazy. So so with a franchise, with any franchise, they want their product to taste the same consistency, whether it's here, Russia, Japan, South America. So what they do is they over-engineer a lot of equipment. I'm not saying this one is, well, it is, but they want it where, at 4 o'clock when the high school kid comes in and they're kind of dragging behind and don't really care. They want this machine to do everything at one push of a button. Anybody can do this. So it is a little over-engineered, but with these machines, the hoppers on the top have to be full at all times. I walk in there, I hear them beeping because there's a low sensor. If you let them get low, air gets pumped into and it flash freezes and it locks up. And what it does in response to that, It locks out, and then it goes into a mode till somebody can come and reset it. If you don't top off the product at the top, at night before it goes into heat mode, it will fail also, because the top has glycol that runs around the hopper, that also runs around the barrel, that the thermal transfer fluid transfers the cold from the barrels or runs through the heat box, and it needs to keep a temperature of about 170 degrees for about 4 hours every evening to kill the bacteria, so that they can use that unit for about 14 days, without having to really do much of a deep cleaning. So the science is there, the theory's there, it's all good. But when you combine something that is 100-plus-year-old technology of ice cream machine barrels, and then you have computer boards like a Tesla all around it, and you mix that with a high school kid that comes in and sometimes forgets to top off the hopper, or clean the thing, or it's just a lot of, I would say, there's an environment for a lot of human error, and if that's your thing and you're always on that machine, and you can take pride, you can deal with it, and it's never down. But if you have revolving shifts of different people always in there, not the same people, and then, hey, I worked on this today, the next time I work on this I use this piece of equipment 2 weeks from now, it's going to be a lot of inconsistency. And it's I'm not trying to make an excuse for anybody. It's designed the way it is to work all over the world and to be used as easily as possible. But maintaining it, people need to pay more attention, and that's where it always drops. And then once it's locked out, you need a certified service technician to come in there and reset it and make sure that everything is good. So, because at the end of the day, it's also food safety. Food safety is health, it's health related. It's the public, and nobody wants to be responsible for getting anyone sick or worse. So, I get why they put so much technology into it, but when you combine that with adolescence, it just sometimes it just doesn't work out. And McDonald's, there's a lot of kids, so again, not pointing any fingers, but from my experience and being inside stores at times, if I hear it beeping, I'm there to fix something. I'll run to the back and grab a bag of shake mix, and I'll put it in there for them, and I'll educate somebody. It's not a thing. I don't want it to be down. And nor do I want people seeing me back there. And I get some looks when I have to work on that thing. And it's just like, hey, I'm gonna get it up and running here soon. And it just seems like it's always down, but it really isn't. But when there's one at every corner, the probability of something being wrong is just higher, so it is what it is.
Dusty made it. He's in the stream. That's cool. I've never worked on them, so I couldn't really say. I know a lot of guys just say that they're not cleaning them or whatever, or they just ignore it, so that's why they're down. So I didn't realize that once it did lock out, you have to come in and someone has to come in and reset it. So that's kind of cool to know. You talked about the customers.
It's about health. Yeah,
the customer's staring at you. So I do a lot of like grocery store stuff where they have a couple of combi ovens they cook chickens in, and like it's deli cases all the way around, cheese cases, sushi cases. Man, and the customers will stare at me like I'm there to like slice their meat and stuff, man. And I had just the other day I was working on one, and it was Saturday night. I was doing an upgrade on one. Had some software issues, had to go back Saturday night. And this guy walked in. I got my back to him. I'm staring at this oven. I got my back to him. He's like, hey. I'm just like, I don't work here. I'm just ignoring him, He was like, he screamed, excuse me, are you going to effing help me? I was like, I turned around and I was like, I don't work here, dude. I was like, God. And there was other customers there. The guy was waiting on customers. Had like 3 people in front of him. And he just like, I was like, no, I'm not going to help you, dude, especially acting like that.
I have that happen every time I go into a particular grocery warehouse that we service over here. Same exact thing. And I'm like, dude, I'm not even dressed like the people that are helping the customers.
Yeah.
People are crazy, man. People are crazy. And then
if
the oven's down and they don't have their particular chicken salad these people are crazy about, the employees will blame me. Like, the oven's broke, talk to him. I'm like, it's broke because you don't do what you're supposed to do. Don't blame me.
I'm here to fix it, guy. Man, I tell you, man, when the 4 years that I was in college, up there in Washington State, I went to school from 7:30 in the morning to 3 o'clock, Monday through Friday for 4 years. And then I went to work 5 days a week from 4 p.m. right after school till 11 o'clock at night at Albertson's Deli, and I worked in a deli. So if a customer turned around and yelled at me, I'd be like, "Don't threaten me with a good time, because I will make you a sandwich."
I try to be nice, but that guy was like screaming. And I was just like, whatever, dude. I'm like, most of the time I turn around like, oh, I'm sorry, let me get somebody, But there was other people there, and he just ran up in front of everybody and just started yelling. And because I could see him in the reflection in the oven, And,
that dude was hangry.
Oh, dude, he was mad. And they didn't have the chicken salad because their ovens were down. So he was mad about it, dude. That chicken salad, people go nuts over it. It's ridiculous.
I feel a certain kind of way when I can't get my lemon pepper rotisserie chicken from one of our favorite grocers here that are not the cheapest. It's it's not Walmart, but it's worth waiting for. Their customer, I like that place because you pay more, but the customer service is on point.
Dude, it's worth it, man.
I'll just give them a shout out. It's Publix.
I figured
I knew it was Publix.
I figured it was Publix.
Yeah.
You should live in Pepper
Yeah,
chicken.
I dig Publix, man. Love them.
That's cool. That's cool. So your new role, you're a preventative maintenance manager. So what all does that entail? I know, the PM side of it, but you work with the PM techs and making sure like they're learning the proper way and proper procedures and stuff as well.
Yeah. So what I do is we get a lot of technicians out of tech school. What's great about the plant maintenance department is that it's a controlled environment. So you can get technicians around equipment, cleaning equipment, getting readings and kind of understanding the, what would you call what's the word there? The sequence of operations. Thank you, Pat. So it's a great place for them to understand the equipment. And if you understand, I tell them, if you understand the sequence of operations, you know where it starts, you know where it ends, where it fudges in the middle is you're close to the problem. So having them in a controlled environment, especially right out of school, it's a great opportunity to get them, ready to transition from my department, whether we hire them into the department, they're changing filters, they're cleaning coils, they're checking amperage, they're checking pressure. It's really safe and controlled, but we can get them in 6 months to a year. They're still, learning, making us money, being productive and having good analytics, and then move them into a department they like. For our company, we have a design department, an installation department. We have a hot side, a cold side. We have all these different departments, and we give people an opportunity to figure out where they want to be. But the best place for them to be is in a safe environment where they can understand the equipment before they get out on their own. So, I look at it as a lot, and every company has these guys. And I'll just, the one thing I learned when I got into this field is that there's always some techs that have been around a little bit, and they say things like, this is the real world, forget what you learned in school. And I think there's nothing more toxic than to tell somebody who one, spent the money and time and took the initiative to go learn something that, Ohm's law, I've had to use Ohm laws a few times, a few years in, because I got some heating elements that that weren't marked, and I needed to order them, and I needed to do that math, between,
I still use it, man. I'll be like, I'll get a piece of equipment, and I'm like, they want to know what size breaker it is. I'm like, well, it's a 22 kW, 208. Well, let me figure this out, and I'll let you know.
Yeah, so it's disheartening to hear someone tell somebody who's fresh out of school that this is the real world, and you just need to forget what you learned. So versus most companies, you just throw the new guy with the old timer and let them rip, and they're going to figure it out. And then there's nothing wrong with the old timer per se. I'm just saying that if you catch people early and you keep them in line with what they learned, and you keep them applying what they learned, once they go out on their own, they're only going to know to fall back on the principles, because those principles are true. Thermodynamics is true. Your safety, PPE, not smoking on a dang gum roof, all true. Those are behaviors that you want to cut off, from the new techs, and every company has them. I'm not trying to bash anyone. I've experienced it. And it's something that stuck with me, that, I want to catch these guys and put them in an environment that, I'm just going to, nurture where they're coming from, and want to keep that, because if you cut off any bad habits and just stick them with good habits, unless they have a character or a work ethic issue, they're gonna stay straight on what they know, because they're gonna have to rely on it to stay safe and to do their job and to produce.
Your buddy Jesus says that's the way to be able to fix most issues. The sequence of operations.
Sequence of operations. Yeah.
You turn that switch on, what happens next? Just start following that diagram, man.
Yeah.
It's amazing what happens. I used to not be a big fan of PMs. I hated doing them. I'd always try to get out of them. I'd be like, oh, you're wasting money sending me out there. I make too much money. I did an episode of Joey Hall a while back, and it really opened up my eyes on the PM. That we need to do a better job for our customers. They're ensuring us to make sure their equipment's running properly. Let's take the time to make sure it is running properly. We're cleaning it properly. We're changing the filters. We're straightening coils. We're cleaning coils. Whatever it takes to make sure that equipment's running properly, because that's what they're paying us for. If we do that, we're going to find other issues. The company's going to make the money back. We all know doing PMs isn't your moneymaker. It's just to get you there and to make sure the customer's, running right. So just do the job right, and it's amazing what comes. And, Joey Hall, he's a good dude, and he really opened up my eyes on it, that conversation we had about it. And, we got some PMs coming up, and I was like, hey, send me out with the new guys. Send me a new guy. Let's go out and do a PM. Let's do this right. Let's make sure they know how to do this right. Take the time. I don't care what it says, 4 hours, and we take 6. I don't care. He's going to know how to do it right, and it's not going to be a question next time. So
I think PMs are super important. With us, we have a dedicated department. I remember just being a service tech that I used to do PMs, but then if there was an emergency, I was pulled off of it and then say, sorry, I'll have to finish this up later. But we having a dedicated department to just deal with that. We can let the more experienced service techs handle those walk-ins that are down, those reach-ins, those grills and things like that. So it's in most companies, and in that service company I was with as a service tech, I was doing both. When I got here to Casper's, I was like, I don't have to do PMs. We have a PM department. I'm like, I'll be honest. I was just like, hell yeah. If it's somebody else's job to do that aspect, then I don't have to do it. I can just fix stuff. And then now that I'm in this department, I'm like, man, us being dedicated. Customer sees a team run in, and take care of their stuff. And we're there to prevent things from downtime, and, they don't mind spending the money because we owned our own quite a few of our own restaurants, and we could show the data that our equipment versus the other locations, was down less because we stayed on top of PMing our stuff, whether it's hot side or cold side. It's just proven it. You either make time to maintenance your stuff, or your stuff's going to make time for you to fix it later. So you got to stay ahead of that.
Yeah, that's a great point. So, I'm really going to focus on the PMs with the new guys. It's not my most favorite thing to do because I don't think it's challenging, but it needs to be done right. And the customer's paying the fee. Yeah. Let's do it right. Let's make it, let's take care of the customer. Like you said, Take care of the customer. Everything else falls into place. Rich, you doing any PMs?
Since being here at Whaley, no. But before I came to Whaley, we used to do PMs all the time. And it's like you said in that podcast with Joey, when you do your PMs properly, you're always going to generate that revenue on the backside. And I think I told the story when I was on the podcast of, I was doing a PM in a place where we did the guy's cold side. He had another company doing his hot side stuff. And when I was doing the PM, we still PM the hot side. And I found some valves, I think it was on a broiler or something that, they were tight. And when I pointed it out to him, he's like, oh, how'd you find that? And I'm like, oh, it's part of the process. Look, and, I showed him whatever. And he's like, man, so-and-so company was out here working on this unit the other day, and they didn't mention it to me. And next thing you know, he's like, go ahead and fix it. Oh, and by the way, tell your boss that you guys are doing all my hot side work now, too, just off of something like that. So, being thorough with it is great. But, being at Whaley now, we've got a whole PM crew, so they do 99.9% of the PMs.
Nice. Yeah, I tell everybody, just have some pride in your work and do the right thing, and everything else falls right in line, man. People ask me how I'm successful, what I do. I'm like, dude, it's easy. Just take pride in your work, something you're willing to show off, and have some integrity and do the right thing for your customer. And don't worry about anything else. So, do you have any other roles there just besides that? Or I've seen you do some social media, some posts, some tool stuff with them, some other stuff.
I've always done my own social media thing, and I do it for fun. And I've volunteered to do, we did like tool time. I got like 2 episodes I have to film tomorrow of tool time for some tools. But I try to be active with helping the company on the social media front and whatnot. So that's a little side role that they would like me to do, and I don't mind doing it. Me being new in this department, me trying to keep my head above water and understanding all the processes. I've been collecting content, but I haven't been putting it together or really uploading it. It's a lot of things I upload for the most part are just kind of older stuff, regurgitated stuff I slapped together or reposted. Because give it a week or two, and you got dozens more people, hundreds more people, they haven't seen it. So what's old is new. So there's nothing wrong with just regifting those nuggets, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's for the most part, just PM management, a little bit helping with the social media stuff. I have an assistant manager now, a lead tech, who's helping me, who's really been in this department, and that's been a new development. So I've been getting a lot of stuff taken off my plate because I have somebody to trust in, and that's experienced and whatnot and dedicated. He's a nerd like I am about all this stuff and whatnot. And he just now, and this will bring something up you'll probably bring up. He made his own sticker because I made my own sticker, and I yours is in the mail. So I got to get you stickers, brother, and Jason Hartman. But he's been really cool. So now that I've been able to I got to help. And
is that Leprechaun?
Yes, HVAC Leprechaun.
Yes, okay.
Jonathan Klein.
Yes. Yeah. He started following me, and I followed him back. And then I seen the video the other day, and you tagged him. I was like, "Does it dude follow me?" And I was like, "Oh, he works with Jason. Okay, this makes sense now."
Yeah,
so,
that's my
cool.
lead technician.
That's
He was
cool.
promoted to lead tech. He is awesome. And
he's got a sense of humor too, so that's even better.
Yeah. Yeah, when it comes to customer service, taking care of people, and really care. And coincidentally, he worked at Steak and Shake too. Funny enough, and it's just he has that hospitality background. So him and I are just on the same level about our expectations and the standards of how we treat people and whatnot.
Is that a Cobra Kai shirt?
Damn right. Never die. Cobra Kai never die.
My buddy Ryan Hughes.
Awesome.
He has an HVAC channel on YouTube, and he has a podcast, HVAC Misfits, him and Jennifer Manzo. He's a good dude. Check him out. HVAC Hughesman HVAC. So check him out. Jonathan Klein's in here too. He said yes. So I think you made his day there.
That's my boy.
What's up, Leprechaun?
Yeah, Jennifer.
Man?
Yeah, Jennifer and Ryan, right?
Yep.
Yeah, they were also, Ryan has been asking me if we can interview, and I told him this probably as long as I've been telling you that, I will get around to jumping on here, but that I did promise you that my first was going to be with you. So I'm scheduled with them, I think on the 6th. They're sending me an invite.
Nice.
So
yeah, I tried, and I understand, you were trying to work this role and trying to, transfer over to this management role, and you didn't want to jeopardize anything like that. So I respected everything you said. So I'm glad that it all worked out, man. And glad you're in a role you like and you wanted and you're striving for, and you're making a difference in these younger techs. And that's really cool, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Super important. Not enough experienced guys want to pour into the younger guys.
Yeah, man, that's the bad thing on Facebook, man. I'm in all these groups, and a young guy goes in and asks a question, and like one person tries to answer, and you got 12 guys just shitting on the kid or shitting on somebody. I'm like, dude, you can't do this job forever. They're aging out faster. We can bring them in. Teach the next generation, please.
Dude, I got people that I've met through some of the groups that have reached out and been like, yo, can you give me, tech support? Can I reach out to you when I'm in the gym? And I'm like, people I've never even met in real life. They live halfway across the country from me. But I'm like, one thing I'm thankful for is I remember meeting dudes in the supply house when I didn't have anybody really willing to show me. And I'd have a problem. And I had a few older dudes that was like, yeah, here's my card. Here's my number. Call me if you run into something. And I was on jobs calling dudes that, ran other companies. And they're like, yeah, this is how you check the TXV. This is how you do this. This is how you do that, do the other. I'm like, so somebody poured into me, and every technician who's good out there, somebody taught you how to do it. You didn't wake up one day. You might be mostly self-taught, but somebody had to show you some stuff. So how are you going to sit there, have all that stuff somebody poured into you, and then you got a dude that's trying to, learn this trade, and you're just going to keep it for yourself? I'm like, man, I wouldn't be a quarter of what I am right now if it wasn't for dudes that were willing to pour into me. I'm like, how am I not going to pour into other people? So I want to commend you on that, dude. That's super important that, you know, what you're doing with that, with pouring into people.
That's how I met Dusty, man. He started following me on Instagram. I followed him back, and like he started asking me. He see me posting equipment, and he started asking me questions in DMs, and like we became friends. I haven't met him yet. I mean, he's only like 2.5 hours away. He's in Southern Indiana. I mean, I'll meet him here soon, but I mean, we talk all the time. Like, you know, he sent me questions today, asked me about something, and I called him up. Hey, you know, it's this, and this. And I want to spread the word on this industry. I want to promote us. I want to put us up there to be as well known as electricians, HVAC, refrigeration, plumbers. We need to be up there with them, and that's my main goal. But, you know, we're not going to do it by beating people up in Facebook groups or anything else.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
Yeah. Pat, I appreciated you taking my phone calls, shooting you some photos when I was first working on that MPX with the screen acted up.
Yeah.
I'm like, I mean, that was a while. That was a year or more ago. And dude, I was just like, I'm just going to hit him up. And, you know, I know you give classes for Garland. So I'm just like, and you were just like, bam, bam, bam. I was like, yeah. I was like, I was on call. It was like a Friday night or something.
Yeah, it was. I'll help anybody out, dude. I'm that type of person. I mean, when I'm on vacation, my work phone goes with me. My personal phone goes with me. My work phone stays on. If I'm doing something, if I'm playing putt-putt or if we're doing something, I try to make it quick. But, you know, if I'm not doing anything, I will call the person. I will walk them through it. I'm that kind of guy. I mean, I'm not going to let someone struggle out there because I know what it was like to struggle, dude. I got 2.5 weeks training kicked out. And, like, luckily I had my dad that did this and his friends that helped me out. But, dude, there was days I was like, why am I doing this? I should have never left to be an electrician. I quit. I don't want to do this. And then, you know, the same thing when I started doing refrigeration because I didn't start off doing refrigeration. There's days like, why did I say I ever wanted to do this? This is freaking terrible.
Are you having fun now, though?
Some days, most days. Most days. Some days I'm like, I want to quit. I want to go back to bed.
I quit 3 times a day personally. I just always show up the next day.
Yeah, I call my boss all the time, like, I quit. He's just like, you going to be fine in like 15, 20 minutes? I was like, I'll let you know in 15 or 20 minutes. Most of the time I don't let him know. I just keep working. So it's been almost an hour. I don't want to keep you much longer, but I do want you to promote everything you got going on, all your social media, YouTube, anything you want to show, share. Let's get you out there. Let's get you in front of the people, man, because you deserve it. You're highlighting the next group of people coming in with these PM projects. You do great work. You're all about the customers. So let's get this back out there in front of everybody again, man. I know you're a little slow, but I got a feeling something's coming.
Something's coming.
You want to put your links out there or anything? Where to find you at?
Oh yeah, it's always Jason Latimer lower. It's either lower underscore or dash facilities. I'm a facilities guy, so you'll be able to find it. I'll have my website. I'm working on a website that'll have all my links, kind of a landing page, and it'll just be jasonlatimer.tech. Kept it as simple as possible. TECH. Hopefully this weekend or the next, it'll be up and running, and it'll be kind of like it's just a landing page with all my links. I didn't feel like giving Linktree my shit, so I wanted my own thing, my own style. And maybe I'll have a video of the week on there where I can just talk about, you know, life and whatnot and something new, and just go from there. You know,
I need to dump my Linktree and just put my bio as my website and make everybody go to my website and drive traffic there. But I still got a Linktree, so I'm terrible. So I appreciate everybody coming in. I appreciate you two for stopping in and, you know, hanging out. Appreciate everybody in the live stream. That's going to be it for tonight. So I'll see you guys next week. If you guys would, please consider subscribing, rating, and reviewing the podcast. It really helps us grow and helps us know which direction to move in. Also, if you have any suggestions for guests, please email me at commercialkitchenchronicle@gmail.com, or if you want to be a guest, email me. Love to have you guys on. Thanks a lot. See you next week.